Hello, welcome to another toneless landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today, we're giving it a temporary title of Road Through the Woods. It's a nice little block in. I believe I'm going to do some more stuff to it. Also, it's quite dark. You're going to see it very nicely illuminated underneath my painting lamp, but something to watch out for, especially I have a tendency to make my paintings dark rather than light. It's just a preference. And I had a couple outside my studio the other day, and they were like, the wife was just wanting to walk on. The husband was at the door looking in. She's like, "Oh, you like that dark, gloomy stuff?" It's not gloomy. It's not. It's just I like contrast. How about that? And I've talked about this before. I went to the Louvre, and you see the paintings of all these guys, 14th, 15th, to 18th, 19th, well, not so much, well, 19th for sure, not so much 20th. One of the things that was always consistent is these paintings could be very dark, and they were nicely illuminated in a gallery setting. I mean, probably the best gallery in the planet, museum, what have you. Um, Yet they were still quite dark, but every one of them had areas of extreme light and contrast, and that I like that. That I think is interesting and engaging. If a painting's light all the way through, to me, it's like a happy song. It's like how many songs on the radio are there like "I love you so much, I hope we're together forever." It might be a few. There's a heck of a lot more like "How'd you do me like that? Don't you do me that way?" what, what have you. Um, anyway, so I'm going to present this to you. I have had a bit of a lull in my painting with the puppy. Maybe I'll try and stick in a video at the end here, just for your edification and enjoyment. I don't know where I put my phone. I'll try to remember to do that. If not, it'll come up. Actually, I won't do that because my goal is to get this done and get it burning and get to the studio and do another painting. Because let's face it, if you want to be a painter, you have to do some paintings. And I've been that active for the last week or so due to the puppy and stuff. And the way my physiology works, or mental state, psychology, not physiology, that would be my physical state. Sorry. If I don't do a painting for, a week or so, I start to get very antsy. And in fact, I went in and did just this tiny little 3.5 by 5. It's just okay, but I did a little painting. I felt better. And that's a positive addiction. That's a positive thing in my life, and positive compulsion. And so many of the compulsions that grip us can be quite negative. At some point in this video, I'm going to read some more from John Carlson's book called Carlson's Guide to Landscape Painting, which is an excellent book. It's a little heady. He was a really, you have to, one thing to keep in mind is like previous generations were so much better educated than we are as moderns. It's not even funny. And better spoken, better read. It's just a fact. Now, I'm not saying they knew more because we have the internet, and we have access at our fingertips to information that would have, in some cases, been hidden for millennia. You know, and in my case, I think that's super awesome because I'm not so much the type of person that's into being a reservoir of information. But for me, information is always about action, about making something happen. So this is one reason why I can talk about painting over and over and over again because all the information that I have about painting is actionable and I've used it and I'm always refining it. But other things that I look into, say like history or your current events or things like that, there I'm always trying to put together a image of the world mentally that makes sense and gives meaning to the world. And that's an ongoing process that I think is extremely valuable. In fact, I think everyone should be doing that. It's not enough to just accept wholesale someone else's interpretation of reality. You really need to think things through on your own. But getting back to what I was saying, I'm able to do that as a modern pretty well, since I'm not that interested in, like I say, sitting on information in my head. I'm more interested in making connections and finding meaning. So I go from thing to thing to thing to thing and start creating models in my mind. Yeah. Anyway, enough of that, because you say, no, man, I don't care. I'm getting close to the 6 minute mark. I'm out of here. Where's my tips? You want a tip? Never use uh, white straight from the tube and plop it on your painting, okay? Just don't do that. You're like, I know that one. I want a tip I don't know. Come on. I don't know. Maybe John's got something for you. You wanna dip our toes into that? And I've got this on my desk, so I'm going to keep going with it. I also want to get back into, pardon me, if that made you yawn, I'm very sorry. I want to get back into the painterly approach. That guy's awesome, and his temperament's a little more suited to us as moderns, which is making the point. You've tuned into the video. It's not enough to see a lovely painting being created from nothing. You want tips and shortcuts that are going to help you to make a genius painting, of your own, in spite of the fact that you've done 12 paintings. You're ready. You're ready for your first show. I just got to say, don't show until you've been painting for at least 5 years, okay? Because the work you're doing is not probably that great. It's just a fact. I'm not trying to put you down. Maybe you're gonna do some good ones, but you'll see. Don't be mad. Don't be mad at me. Just maybe put that comment in your back pocket, and in 5 years, look back at the work you're doing now, and you can go pull that comment out of your back pocket, and you can say, "Oh my goodness, that guy Mike, he was so right. That is really not." I mean, it had potential. In fact, I definitely recommend hanging on to reference and things. Um, because you may want to take another crack at that motif. That's sort of what I'm doing today. The one I'm painting today in the studio, I've done it before as a 5x7, and it did sell, but it has problems and things I know I can improve. So anyway, without any further ado, um, now that all the quick tippers are gone, um, let's get into Carlson's Guide to Landscape Painting, page 86. Sort of at random. Gosh, there's a black and white painting on the other side, but I really love his gestural approach. It's just awesome. In fact, there's a tip there. A gray day sky is lighter than the clear sky. Big tip. If you hadn't stayed around, you wouldn't have got that. Pardon me. But the diffusion of light causes a darkening of all the earth values. A very key or general color tone and subject of a picture must show that the artist has felt the beauty and significance of the scene. Anyway, back to page 86. The landscape painter is constantly harrowed by the procession of vital changes in his light and consequent impression or effect, unless perchance he is merely interested in bold facts of form and design. This guy's painting outdoors, you can tell that. And not in the particular drama in which these forms and designs are actors, a drama that will never quite repeat itself in all the time to come. Let's address that. For my part, my response to that, being someone that predominantly well, 100% uses some sort of photo reference, I've learned to be very critical and often will change. Like today, before I started painting, I saw some things in that photo reference. Instead of just saying, "Oh, it'll be fine," it won't. I got in there and started recropping, recompositing, and making mental notes. So in the case I didn't actually change anything in a reference, I made a list of mental notes of things that aren't going to work, and I made sure to change those. So moving on. and even though this is in the beginning of his statement was applying to plein air painting, he gets into some stuff about color that I thought was pretty cool. The very key or general color tone, enveloping the materials, mood, form, and design, and the subject used for the creation of them, are distinguished and fine in the measure that the artist has felt the beauty and significance of them. Now there's a paragraph for the ages, huh? Wow. Let us imagine a landscape in which the forms in general have been so arranged as to produce a distinctly minor or depressing quality. This inspiration or motif for the arrangement had been impressed by the artist by witnessing a hailstorm, let's say. It is not true that out of a dozen is it not true that out of a dozen different kinds of color keys of the almost ominous blue-gray character, one of the keys gives a stronger feeling of ominousness than the other? And when this key is added to the selection of line and mass character in our landscape, it produces a more distinct aesthetic thrill in the beholder of the picture than if we had ignored our opportunity of choice. He writes really good, doesn't he? See, when I'm reading this to you, we got lots more. Just relax, let it all wash over you. This is not quote unquote intellectualizing, for the emotions felt in color can never be experienced except psychologically. We are psychologically biased in our selection of expressive forms as well as colors. Primitive man's earliest experiences or associations play a part in the feelings we derive from different colors. One man's feelings are approximately similar to another man's to a remarkable degree. The difference lies in the intensity of reaction. Now that is gold. That's gold, Jerry. Yeah. By the way, that's my puppy's name, Jerry. My other puppy. I still got Denny. He's always going to be my puppy. This reaction is keener in the ordinary man than we ordinarily suspect. See, I've always believed in that. If I can just go riffing off of John here. When I was a commercial illustrator, I was creating things that had to appeal to ordinary people and had to do so pretty quickly if a sale was going to be generated. And that is something I got better and better at. And then you go, well, what the heck happened, Mike? Why are you doing these paintings? Well, these paintings are targeted for a certain type of audience, and it's not a mass audience because I don't care, you know. If I was going for a mass audience, maybe I would have inverted the whole structure of this painting, and everything that's dark would have been light, and everything lights would have been dark. Anyway, getting back to what Carlson was saying, I have a lot of faith in the ability of the common person to perceive something cool. And it might be, they might not be able to vocalize it all that well. They might just say, whoa, that's cool. I remember showing one of my paintings to a guy when I first came out here to New Zealand. He wasn't an educated guy or anything. He says, well, that's really mean, which is slang out here for cool, you know? And I got it. That's great, you know? It is mean. Mean as. Yeah. No man could gaze into the dark purple blue of a storm cap and receive a joyous impression, and I do not believe that the ensuing depression of spirit is based on fear. It may have been fear in the remote ages. It is not conscious fear now. The malediction of the fading light and glooming color was probably associated with physical tragedies and retrogressions because it caused them. Enough for our purposes is the fact that every man reacts in a very similar way to color, and to the quality and quantity of light which causes it. If a man's pride causes him to disclaim this kinship to ordinary mortals, he still feels quote unquote different when contemplating a pearly spring morning in contrast to a stormy scene, which only proves that after all he's human. If we are all sensitive to color emotions, only in greater or lesser degree, we are all sensitive to color emotions, only in greater or lesser degrees. And I think we'll end it there. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know it was a little rambly, but you know, we all showed up. We had a good time. We watched a painting get done. What would I do to this painting? Sorry, I just had lunch. I think it's making me drowsy. Bring in some more greens in the darks there. You know, Also, that road is a little. I tried my best not to get the triangle thing going on, but I don't know if I succeeded too well. There you can see I was trying to just shift the light around. Anyway, until I come back with another video, please do me a favor. Take good care of yourself, your loved ones. Be very calm in this time of great turmoil in the world, and take good care. Definitely stay out of trouble.